Imagine waking up in a world where the Allies never reached Berlin. No D-Day victory. No fall of Nazi Germany. No post-war America rising as the clear leader of the free world. Instead, Europe is trapped under one of the darkest empires in history. Today we're asking, what if Germany won World War II? Act 1. The war turns. For Germany to win World War II, one major thing has to change. Hitler stops making some of his worst decisions. In our timeline, Germany invaded the Soviet Union, declared war on the United States, and fought too many enemies at once. That was the beginning of the end. But in this timeline, Germany plays it smarter. In 1940, after France falls, Britain stands alone. Instead of switching focus too quickly, Germany doubles down. The Luftwaffe keeps pounding British airfields, ports, and supply lines. German submarines tighten the blockade in the Atlantic. Britain doesn't collapse overnight, but by 1941, it is exhausted. Food is short. Ships are sinking. The British public is terrified of invasion. And then Germany offers peace. Not friendship, not forgiveness, a deal. Britain keeps its empire, but agrees to leave Europe alone. With no Allied base in Britain, there is no D-Day. No American troops storming Normandy. No Western Front. Germany now turns east. Act 2. The Soviet Union falls. In this version, Hitler delays the invasion of the Soviet Union until Germany is fully ready. The army is better supplied. Winter gear is prepared. The push toward Moscow begins earlier and stays focused. The Soviet Union still fights brutally. The Red Army is massive. The land is enormous. The Russian winter is deadly. But without Britain and America putting as much pressure on Germany, the Nazis can throw almost everything east. Moscow falls. That does not automatically destroy the Soviet Union, but it shatters morale. Stalin's government retreats deeper into Russia. Some Soviet forces keep fighting. Partisans attack rail lines. Cities burn rather than surrender. But Germany takes the Western Soviet heartland, Ukraine, Belarus, the Baltics, and much of European Russia. This is not a normal occupation. Nazi rule would be monstrous. Millions would be enslaved, starved, deported, or murdered under racist plans for the East. A German victory would not create peace. It would create a continent-sized prison. Act 3. The New World Order. By the late 1940s, the map looks terrifying. Germany dominates Europe. Puppet governments obey Berlin. France is broken. Poland is erased as an independent state. Eastern Europe becomes a vast colonial zone ruled by terror. Italy still controls parts of the Mediterranean, but Germany is clearly the senior partner. Japan controls much of East Asia, but even Japan and Germany don't fully trust each other. The world is split into empires. In the West, the United States is powerful but isolated. America still has industry, money, and eventually atomic weapons, but it no longer has a free Europe to partner with. Across the Atlantic sits Nazi Germany. Across the Pacific sits Imperial Japan. Instead of the Cold War between America and the Soviet Union, the world gets something even darker. A three-way standoff between the United States, Germany, and Japan. Everyone spies on everyone. Everyone builds bigger weapons. Everyone prepares for the next war. Act 4. Germany's empire starts cracking. Here's the twist. Even if Germany wins the war, keeping the empire might be impossible. The Nazis were good at destruction, but terrible at building a stable world. Their empire would be filled with hatred, resistance, and rebellion. Occupied peoples would not simply accept Nazi rule forever. Underground movements would spread across Poland, France, Ukraine, Russia, and the Balkans. Germany would need endless soldiers, endless money, and endless violence just to hold what it conquered. And inside Germany, the system would be unstable too. Nazi leadership was built around loyalty to Hitler, fear, and rivalry. Once Hitler aged or died, his top officials would likely turn on each other. The empire might look invincible from the outside, but inside, it would be rotting. Act 5. The Second World War becomes the First Cold War. By the 1950s or 1960s, the world could reach a terrifying balance. America has nuclear weapons. Germany develops its own. Japan tries to keep up. No one wants to strike first, because the next war could end civilization. So the fighting moves into the shadows. Rebels in Europe get secret American support. Germany funds anti-American movements elsewhere. Japan fights to hold its Asian empire. The oceans become military borders. There is no United Nations like we know it. No NATO. No European Union. No clear post-war peace. Just fear. A world where freedom survives in some places, but millions live behind walls, checkpoints, secret police files, and forced labor camps. So what if Germany won World War II? It would not be a clean victory, it would not be a peaceful empire, and it definitely would not be a better world. It would be a darker, colder, more divided planet. Germany may win the war, but it would inherit a nightmare. Because conquest is one thing. Holding the world hostage forever? That is something else entirely. And that's the terrifying world where Germany wins World War II. What alternate history should we explore next? Like, subscribe, and remember, history only happened one way, but it could have gone much, much darker.